Let's just face it, guys. The left and their mainstream media allies, they just hate the fact that President Trump is doing a great job. For one, they're finally putting Fulton County DA Fani Willis to heel. The state Senate committee investigating her is reissuing a subpoena compelling her to testify. And committee chairman Bill Cowsert, he said that he's going to make every effort to make DA Fani Willis testify during this legislative session. Now, if you guys remember, this is the same subpoena that the Fulton County DA defied, saying that the committee did not have the authority to subpoena to begin with. Well, a judge just ruled otherwise and basically said Fani Willis must comply with any subpoena to appear. I mean, did she really expect anything less? Now, I'm considering this further proof that America is changing dramatically under President Donald Trump. And yes, Democrats' lawfare strategy remains the same. These people, they just never learn. And just like in the past, it's probably just going to end as badly for them. Am I right, guys? I mean, over 60 lawsuits against the Trump agenda, the staggering majority of American people voted for. One of them even challenges Trump's executive orders ending DEI and affirmative action in federal programs. Seriously? Like, they even have a chance? By the way, if you guys appreciate the daily updates like this one, I appreciate you guys take a second, hit the like button, and thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. You guys are amazing. But you know what, guys? These folks, they have no problem pardoning the disabled, the veterans, and the disabled veterans to score some sympathy from the people. CNN recently interviewed a disabled veteran for her emotional story about being fired from a federal job. Now, of course, it's not invalidating her story. Far from that. I just find it disturbing how CNN they're doing this while their very own polls show President Donald Trump's approval rating remains higher than at any other point during his first term in office. I mean, really? Just choose a side here, CNN. So yeah, that's why I get especially excited when I see Trump's team put these media people in their place. You know what I'm saying? For instance, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt shutting down some very pointed questions from NBC reporter Peter Alexander. It was as if he was defending fraudulent payments from Social Security. And yes, we got the clip for you guys. So yeah, what else can I say? A month into President Donald Trump's administration, the most obvious change from the Joe Biden years is that we actually have a president again. The president is doing what he said he was going to be doing during his campaign. He's leading and he's governing. And we're all here for it, right, guys? Okay, so first, there's the subpoena from Fulton County DA. We're finally going to hear from her regarding her vendetta against President Trump and, of course, how she used the Georgia case to make her lover, Nathan Wade, rich. Here, watch the clip.
A state Senate committee investigating Fulton County DA Fani Willis says it will reissue a subpoena compelling her to testify. The Senate Special Committee looking into allegations of misconduct against Willis during her investigation in the 2020 Trump election case. Now, during Thursday's hearing, committee chair Bill Cowsert said he will make every effort to have DA Willis testify during this legislative session. Willis defied a subpoena to testify last year, arguing the committee doesn't have the authority to subpoena her.
And since the court already backed the subpoena, they could be looking at some very serious enforcing power this time around, meaning if Fani Willis chooses to defy the subpoena again, she could and should be put in jail like Steve Bannon. It's good, right? Don't let Big Fani or her alleged ill-gotten millions walk away. We're setting a precedent, and man, I cannot wait until this train reaches the likes of Letitia James. You know what I mean? The focus of the committee's investigation is how Fani Willis spent public funds on her failed racketeering and election interference investigation into the 45th and 47th president and whether any funds earmarked for other purposes were improperly diverted. So yeah, the Georgia State Senate issued a subpoena in August 2024, but Fani Willis was a no-show. That's right, guys. Cowsert also tried to enforce years-old subpoenas against Fani Willis for documents and testimony, as well as the latest subpoena. In turn, Fani Willis and her office filed for a permanent injunction to stop the subpoenas from being enforced. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below. So they brought her to court not once, but twice. You see, on December 23rd, 2024, the Fulton County District Judge overseeing overseeing the matter ruled in favor of Cowzert's committee on the basic question of the subpoena power. But then Fani Willis pulled another card from the deck of law. She filed a new motion relying on a wholly separate argument. She even had the gall to say that the November 2024 general election, which President Trump won by a landslide, necessarily resulted in a brand new general assembly being sworn in. And so basically that the present committee is a different committee. I mean, ridiculous, right? I mean, it just makes you wonder what the heck this woman's hiding. Now, remember, guys, her Georgia election interference case was one of the key parts of the lawfare campaign against President Trump. Her lover turned special counsel Nathan Wade was even seen coming and going from the White House for meetings with Biden officials. Now, I think we could probably just go ahead and put 2 and 2 together here, right? Just drop a quick yes in the comments down below. Hit the like button if I'm making sense to you guys. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap that notification bell for more updates like this one. All right, so let's get back to our discussion. You know what this Fani Willis subpoena says to me, right? That the era of Democrats' lawfare is over. It's just that nobody on their side seems to have realized it yet. I mean, over 60 lawsuits have already been filed against the Trump administration and its people. That's actually more than the number of days Trump has been in office. There's even one against the widely popular executive order ending diversity, equity, and inclusion, and diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and affirmative action in federal programs. This lawsuit's coming from a group of leftist organizations, namely the National Association of Diversity Officers in Higher Education, the American Association of University Professors, Restaurant Opportunity Centers United, and the Mayor and City Council of Baltimore. Now, according to the plaintiffs, the executive orders ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and ending illegal discrimination and restoring merit-based opportunities somehow violate their free speech and due process rights by halting the gravy train that helped feed their billion-dollar industry. So now they want DEI as a constitutional right, as if people haven't been saying how it's on its own kind of discrimination. Now, for one, there's the Obama-Biden Federal Aviation Administration DEI policies. They weren't just looking to increase the number of racial and gender minorities. They specifically looked for people with special targeted disabilities, hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism. Now, conservative media has been correlating it to the rise in accidents. Barely 2 months into the year, there have already been 87 aviation accidents resulting in 84 deaths. We're not just talking about discrimination anymore here, guys. We're talking about actual people's lives. These liberals, they just don't learn. Neither do their mainstream media allies. Why else would they headline this disabled veteran story on their show? Here, watch this.
Are you hoping to ever return to a job in the federal government or not after this?
I wouldn't do it until, you know, some things have changed, because right now it's a lack of stability. And then also, you know, the emotional impact to me, this really feels like a betrayal in some sense, and that they didn't consider how this impacts people, and especially the 30% of the federal workforce that have served on active duty.
Tell us more about how it feels like a betrayal.
I mean, it comes down to what I've already said. I served my country for 11 years, 9 of them on active duty. I deployed twice. I spent so much time away from my family. Oh no, I was gone when my mom passed away. And I missed that, to serve my country. And I was excited to continue serving in this capacity. And they not only tore that out from under my feet, but couldn't even just grant me a layoff and instead place the blame on me, that it was my performance. And I've gotten nothing but positive reviews on that. So I feel very much like the message is that my service isn't valued. They don't care about how this impacts me or people like me. And to me, it's inhumane. It feels like they're ignoring our personhood and not respecting us as human beings or as American citizens.
Now, again, I hear her. She was fired from her federal job, and it's showing the sacrifices Americans are having to make right now for a leaner government. Now, at the same time, I also have to bring up the very real fact that President Donald Trump's approval rating remains higher than at any point during his first term in office. This coming from the latest poll from the very same network parading this veteran story on national television. CNN's poll shows Trump at 47% approval rating with 52% disapproval. But what's more interesting is what these same respondents are considering Trump's single most significant action. 28% is saying that it's securing the border. You know what the second one was? The president's slashing of government with Elon Musk and the Department of Efficiency at 12%, aka Doge. So again, it's sounding like the majority of Americans approve of Trump's plan to downsize our government. Now, I just hope that the disabled veteran is able to find another job. At least I think she will, especially given the fact that she's had nothing but positive performance reviews, right? There were 3 other polls that also came out around the same time. 45% of voters questioned in the Quinnipiac University survey says that they approve of the way that Trump is handling his job as president, with 49% disapproving, down from a 46 to 43% approval-disapproval in a Quinnipiac poll conducted in late January during the president's first week back in office following his inauguration. Another national poll from Gallup indicated the president at 45% approval and 51% disapproval, which is down from 47 to 48% approval disapproval late last month. Now, according to a Reuters Ipsos national survey, the president stood at 44% approval and 51% disapproval, coming from the 45-46 approval disapproval during his first week of the president's second administration. Now, I know this sounds like a bunch of numbers to you, so let me just go ahead and help you out. What we look for is the pattern. And right now, the pattern is showing us that Trump's approval ratings remain above water. And that's really a big accomplishment considering how divided America has been these last few years. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt also said as much when she shut down an NBC reporter for desperately trying to defend government waste, fraud, and abuse. Here, watch.
In some traditionally red districts right now complaining about what they say is the chainsaw approach and saying that it's been done very sloppily, the cuts to jobs and spending. How do you respond to that criticism?
I love how the media takes a few critics when the overwhelming response from the American people is support for what this administration is doing. If you look at the public polling, 70% of Americans, according to CBS, believe that President Trump is delivering on the promises he made. And there should be no secret about the fact that this administration is committed to cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. The president campaigned on that promise. Americans elected him on that promise, and he's actually delivering on it. And this is something that Democrats promised they would do for decades. President Trump is just the first president to get it done.
Let me ask you about the fraud, if I can. We can all have our own opinion about what is wasteful spending, and Republicans have praised the president for cutting wasteful spending, but fraud, of course, is a crime. So have you turned over evidence of fraud to the Justice Department, and when should we expect to see those indictments?
It's a clever question. First of all, I think all Americans would agree that funding mastectomies in Mozambique is not something that the American people should be funding, or DEI programs. I think it's fraudulent that the American government has been ripping off taxpayers in this way. And we also do know there has been extensive fraud, particularly if you look at Social Security. In fact, according to an IG report from the Social Security Administration, there was $71 billion worth of fraud in one single fiscal year that we know about. And so that is a lot of fraud, Peter, that the government has admitted to. So this administration is committed to finding even more of that fraud, waste, and abuse.
To be clear, that $71 billion was from 2015 to 2022, so it wasn't in just 1 year. And it was
$71 billion.
But it wasn't in 1 year, just to be clear.
In one report.
And it was in one report over multiple years, from 2015 to 2022.
So are you defending $71 billion in fraud, Peter? That's a lot of money, far too much, and that's why this administration... Why is the media so against cutting waste, fraud, and abuse from the government? I don't get it.
I just want to ask a question.
We won't be deterred. We will not be deterred from people like you and the press who are clearly adamantly opposed to cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. But we know that American taxpayers at home who have been struggling with an inflationary crisis don't want their tax dollars going towards crazy DEI programs in countries overseas. They also don't like the fact that there has been $71 billion worth of fraud in Social Security and improper payments going out the door. That's a problem that needs to be fixed, and President Trump is going to fix it. That's your fifth question.
Now, I like what she said there at the end. Did you guys catch that? We will not be deterred by people like them, and that includes NBC reporter Peter Alexander, who seemed to have been defending fraudulent payments from Social Security. And Leavitt makes a very very good point. $71 billion worth of fraud. And the guy chooses to argue about the year? I mean, ridiculous, right? Now, honestly, I couldn't have said it any better myself. They will not be deterred by the press, who are clearly adamantly opposing to cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. And neither should they be. As Carolyn Leavitt pointed out, American taxpayers at home who have been struggling with an inflationary crisis don't want their taxpayer dollars going toward crazy DEI programs in countries overseas. They also don't like the fact that there has been $71 billion worth of fraud in Social Security and improper payments going out the door. That's a problem that needs to be fixed, and President Trump, he's going to fix it. I mean, thank goodness he's there too, right? We actually have a president again, because I don't think it's just me, right? The last 4 years, it felt like who's in charge? Who is making the policies? Well, with the Trump administration, there's no room for doubt of any kind, because the president is clearly doing what he said he's going to be doing during his campaign, period. So to all the haters from the media and the Democratic Party, they could just get the heck out. Drop a quick yes in the comments down below. Let me know if you guys are resonating with me on this one. Also, don't forget to check out our suggested videos at the end of this one. They're customized for every viewer, so definitely do not miss them, all right? Now, as for me, appreciate y'all hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next time.